What is love? To feel it is easy. To define love is difficult indeed. If you ask a fish what the sea is like, the fish will say, "This is the sea. The sea is all around." And that's that. But if you insist, "Please define the sea," then the problem becomes very difficult indeed. The finest and the most beautiful things in life can be lived, can be known, but they are difficult to define, difficult to describe. The simple truth is that sex is the starting point of love. Sex is the beginning of the journey to love. The origin, the Gangotri of the Ganges of love, is sex, passion, and everybody behaves like its enemy. Every culture, every religion, every guru, every seer has attacked this Gangotri, this source, and the river has remained bottled up. The hue and cry has always been, sex is sin, sex is irreligious, sex is poison. But we never seem to realize that ultimately it is the sex energy itself that travels to and reaches the inner ocean of love. Love is the transformation of sex energy. The flowering of love is from the seed of sex. Looking at coal, it would never strike you that when coal is transformed, it becomes diamonds. The elements in a lump of coal are the same as those in a diamond. Essentially, there is no basic difference between them. After passing through a process taking thousands of years, coal becomes diamonds. A quarrel between man and his energy has been forced upon him. Man has been taught to fight against his sex energy, to oppose his sex urges. Another important consideration is that man cannot be separated from sex. Sex is his primary point. He is born of it. God has made the energy of sex the starting point of creation, and great men term as sinful what God himself does not consider as sin. If God considers sex as sin, then there is no greater sinner than God in this world, no greater sinner in this universe. Have you never realized that the blooming of a flower is an expression of passion, that it is a sexual act? A peacock dances in full glory. A poet will sing a song to it. A saint will also be filled with joy. But aren't they aware that the dance is also an overt expression of passion, that it is primarily a sexual act? For whose pleasure does the peacock dance? The peacock is calling its beloved, its spouse. Papiha is singing, the cuckoo is singing. A boy has become an adolescent. A girl is growing into a woman. What is all this? What play? What Leela is this? These are all the indicators of love, of sexual energy. Religion and culture pour poison against sex into the mind of man. They create conflict, war. They engage man in battle against his own primary energy. And so man has become weak, gross, coarse, devoid of love, and full of nothingness. Not enmity, but friendship is to be made with sex. Sex should be elevated to purer heights. Our songs, poems, paintings, and virtually all the figures are sexual. Man is sexual everywhere, awake or asleep, in his manners as well as in his etiquette. Every moment man is haunted by sex. I want to warn against the pitfalls of fatalism, against this delusion of certain defeat. Life is not a pile of sand and stones. If you have the right eyes to see it, there is much that is good in life. In life, you will find the ladder to reach God. Within this body of blood, flesh and bones, something or someone aloof from these things exists. It has nothing to do with flesh, blood or bones. It is immortal. It has neither beginning nor end. Formless, it is at the core of each one of us. From the darkness of your ignorance, I urge you, learn for that imperishable flame. But the immortal flame is disguised by the smoke of mortality, and so we cannot see the light. We encounter the smoke and step back. Those who are a bit more courageous search a little, but only in the smoke, and so they cannot reach the flame, the source of illumination either. How can we make this voyage to the flame beyond the smoke, to the self within the body? How can we realize the overself, the universal? How can we come to know that which is camouflaged by nature, that which is hidden in nature? The focus of religious speculation has always been on the other side of death, on heaven, on moksha, on nirvana, as if what happens before death were of no concern at all. I want to ask, if you are unable to live with what happens before death, how will you be able to cope with what comes after life? It will be almost impossible. If we cannot avail ourselves of what is here before death, we can never prepare or qualify for what comes after death. The preparation for one's death must be done during one's life. If there is another world after death, there too we will be confronted with what we have experienced in this life. There is no escaping the after effects of this life, in spite of all the harping about renouncing it. As a result of these basic misconceptions, only elderly people show any interest in religion these days. You will only find old people in the places of God, in the temples, in the churches, in the gurudwaras, and in the mosques. You will not see any young people there. Why? There is only one explanation. Our religion has become a religion for people advanced in age. It is for those haunted by the fear of death, for those at the end of their lives, for those full of anxiety about what comes after death. Let us look at the situation carefully. The realization that comes in the moment of orgasm consists of two elements: egolessness and timelessness. Time freezes and the ego evaporates. Because of the absence of the ego and the stoppage of time, one has a clear vision of one's own self, of one's real self. But that glory is momentary, and then we are back in the same old rut. And in the meantime, we have lost a considerable amount of energy. There are two ways to attain superconsciousness, to reach the essence of the inner self: sex and meditation. Sex is the door provided by nature. Sex is the natural course. Animals have it, birds have it, plants have it, man has it. So long as man avails himself of nature's door, he is not above the animals. He cannot rise above the animals. That door is also accessible to them. The day man finds a new door can be considered as the dawning of humanness in him. Prior to that, we are not men. Prior to that, our center coincides with the animal center, with nature's center. Until we rise above this, until we transcend this, we are truly at the level of the animals. Repression will not free man from anything. On the contrary, its roots will go deep into his subconscious and trap him as a consequence. In the process of trying to stamp out sex, man has entangled himself. He has become trapped. Although animals have their limits and their periods, man has neither. Man is sexual each hour throughout the year. Without exception, no animal in the animal kingdom is sexual to this degree. If man is to be cured of sexuality, it is very important to create a new opening before the door of sex opens. That new opening is meditation. What is meditation? Just sit silently in a relaxed state, doing nothing, and awareness will start happening. Not that you have to pull it up from somewhere, not that you have to bring it from somewhere. It will shower on you from nowhere. It will well up from within your own sources. You just be silent, sitting, and once you have learned the knack, once you have known even a single moment of awareness without tension, you are on the right track. You will never be the same person again. Just relax and let things be as they are. A very, very passive awareness, that is the meaning of meditation. In conclusion, from my heart of hearts, I desire that the lust inside each of us may become a ladder with which to reach to the temple of love, that the sex inside each of us may become a vehicle to reach to superconsciousness. And finally, I bow to the Supreme enthroned in all of us. That's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button to stay connected.